As he watched her on the dance floor, he was forced to acknowledge his own heart had been captured years ago. Now he was back, settled in a job, living in his own place. Now, surely, it was time to do something about his feelings for her. Yes, she was 18 to his 23, but this was Lizzie he was talking about, a girl far older than her years. Tonight he was going to ask her out. He was happy to take things slow. The last few years had given him a lot of practice at slow, but he needed her to know his feelings went beyond those of an honorary big brother. Quite how he was going to do that was another matter. If he didn't know her so well, if she'd simply been a girl who'd caught his eye tonight, he'd know the moves. Oh, he wasn't smooth, if only, but he'd acquired a fair bit of experience with the opposite sex. Enough to know how to buy a girl a drink, and, if he liked her, how to move on to stage 2. He'd taken a few knockbacks over the years, but other than a bruise to his ego, it hadn't really mattered. With Lizzie, it mattered, and not just because he loved her. Her friendship was as important to him as Robert's, and tonight he could seriously screw up both. He had no clue what Robert would think of him fancying his sister, and he had no clue how Lizzie felt either. She liked him, sure, but liked was a long way from how he wanted her to think about him. Nick took a final swig of beer, straightened his back, and walked purposefully towards her. He was willing to risk Robert's wrath if it got him Lizzie. She was dancing with her friends, lost in the music, totally unaware of his approach. He watched, mesmerized, as her tall, sinuous body twirled to the beat. God, she was gorgeous. The most stunning creature he'd ever seen, or was ever likely to see. And it wasn't only he who saw it. Scanning the room, he noticed other men watching her, young and old alike. She stood out from the crowd. She was unique. "Nick, there you are," she said with a smile, holding out her hand to drag him onto the dance floor. "I wondered where you got to." He allowed himself to be pulled towards her. Hell, he was so besotted he'd follow her wherever she led him. Off a 100-foot high cliff? No problem. Across an alligator-infested river? Bring it on. Even onto a blasted dance floor. Never his forte. Getting his body to dance to a rhythm was, well, nigh impossible. Call it his reserve, or shyness, or maybe his total lack of musical ability. Whatever it was, next to her he looked stiff and awkward. "I was trying to avoid dancing," he replied, shouting to be heard above the sound of the music. "But it seems, if I want to talk to you, I have to dance." She laughed, the soft, rich sound rippling through him. "We can talk any time. Today I turn 18, and I want to dance all night." He nodded back, though his heart sank in his chest. If she planned on fixing herself to the dance floor all evening, how on earth was he going to get her to himself? The music moved on to the next track, and still they danced, Nick doing a kind of shuffle to the beat, while Lizzie whirled around him, her movements graceful and fluid. She danced in the same manner she did most things in life, vivaciously, possessing the confidence of someone twice her age. In contrast, he danced awkwardly. He could manage a formal foxtrot, set steps that could be learned, but the loose-limbed gyrating of disco was beyond him. Aware of this, he hung back, desperately hoping the music would turn slower. He'd have no problem holding Lizzie in his arms and gliding slowly around the dance floor. No problem at all. His hopes were dashed as the next high-tempo song blasted through the speakers. "I want to talk to you," he shouted across at her. She smiled over at him, her blue eyes glittering, and he felt his heart flip in his chest. "Go ahead, I'm all ears." He shook his head. "No, later, somewhere quieter." Declaring his love for her in the middle of a crowded dance floor wasn't what he had in mind. It had an advantage. It'd be pretty easy for her to pretend not to hear him, save them both the embarrassment of her turning him down. But shouting out his intimate feelings on a noisy dance floor wasn't his style. No, he'd take the hit in private, thank you. That's if she ever got off the ruddy dance floor. The song ended, and the music stopped altogether.